Where today do we see the enlightened leaders
Yes.
on the world stage, within the political or within the hegemony of the corporatocracy? And it's
Mm.
difficult to see enlightened leaders.
This is what I was just going to ask about. I was going to ask, how do you see? Because I'm trying to see, and sometimes I think I'm seeing and then I'm not, and sometimes I'm not, but I missed it. You know, I mean, is it as simple as it takes one to know one, and then it's a reflection of my own capacity for growth and enlightenment, or is there a secret to it, or is it all projection? Like, how do we, is it really something we can see, or do we just use that as a story so that we kind of are forced to kind of create our own enlightenment?
Yes and no. I
Yes
believe
and
both
no.
are
Okay.
really significant. Just because we don't see them doesn't mean to say that they aren't there
Fair.
fermenting.
Sure.
And I
Sure.
believe that they are fermenting. I have peeled eyes. I have very, very open eyes.
Yes, you do.
So, and I'm in this situation where people reach out to me, and often it's through word of mouth. And they often, because it's through word of mouth, they're often quite mighty. They're often
Hmm.
quite significant in the world. So they have
Hmm.
world roles. They are
Hmm.
the change makers and the thought
Hmm.
bringers. And there are a number that I'm seeing. Many of them are journalists,
Mm.
both men and women. And they're talking about the eruption of the horror as being a denial of Western enlightenment. So they're espousing the virtues of Western enlightenment to remind us what it is. And right at the core of it is the sanctity of the human being. They speak this, even though a number of them are agnostic. They
Mm.
speak this. So there is a great belief in their reviewal of the world because there they are in the capacity of writing reportage on what's going on in the world in its multifarious capacity, most of it rather dark at the
Mm.
moment. But that's also to do with the attention that their own lens is being placed on how do I bring about change in this? How do I bring about the exhumation of truth in this
Mm.
situation? But there are so many ideas floating around. And as we see, truth and falsehood are really up for grabs today because
Mhm.
there are so many young people that believe themselves to be women when they're really men, and
Mm.
men when they're really women,
Mhm.
etc. So there's a great deal of confusion over that,
Mm.
which is my heart goes out to the complexity of their inner struggle, but at the same time, it's raising a very interesting question about the evolutionary nature of our sexuality and the way that we play
Yes.
role in sexuality.
Yes.
However, but they're upholding the instrument of truth to try and get to the quintessence that is there.
Mm.
So when we go into the quintessence, we realize that the substance of truth is not an opinion and it's not a perceptualization. It's actually an absolute that holds us, that holds the fiber and the fabric of our beings together, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So it's interesting that this is rising in the way, for example, that during COVID,
Mm.
which was a very difficult experience for all of us, that there were certain people who stepped forward.
Right.
They were the late night show hosts, the
The
comics,
comics. Yes.
and they made us laugh about the whole thing. So we're going into the archetypal role of the divine
Right.
fool, who
Right.
is the truth seeker, who
Mhm.
always sees the truth when others don't, and they lampoon it, or they send it up, or they satire it, and we laugh. And then suddenly we come home to who we truly are, and so we become bolder and braver, and we have more courage.
Yeah, I thought of the comics when you were talking about your movement from the more direct post to the more poetic one, because the poetic, the art kind of slipped by the identity, the ego. And I think comedy has done another great thing for us in that, is it's allowed us to kind of confront it without it being so existentially devastating, and release some of that pressure.